to discuss the Mallya mess is Senior Counsel Majeed Memon. Thanks, Mr. Memon, for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. My first question to you is, the Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi had made it quite clear the last few days that, as of now, Vijay Mallya is not legally mandated to return to India. There is no such direction from the Supreme Court. What I want to ask you is that, does Vijay Mallya have to return to India at all by any summons that are issued to him by any investigative agency, or only if the Supreme Court directs him to?
You see, one thing must be understood first, because unfortunately there is a false perception in the minds of the people, because we are not conversant with the basics of criminal jurisprudence. Now, a citizen against whom there are allegations, howsoever serious those allegations may be a case of multiple murders, it may be a case of embezzlement of huge sum, as in case of Mallya. He is supposed to cooperate for the purposes of investigation, and the investigating officers need his assistance either through custodial interrogation or through questioning while he is prior to arrest. Now, this is not a part of punishment. Now, people in this country believe that, well, he has been arrested, he has been kept in custody, he is sent to jail, and therefore, because he has embezzled money, that is the wrong impression we are carrying. Now, here, cooperating with the ED or with CBI is a duty of Mallya, and if he does not cooperate and he wants to avoid that, then definitely an adverse inference is drawn by the courts, and the courts would resort to securing his presence by deterrent process of law, such as non-bailable warrant, etc., etc. Now here, if Mallya has been in touch with ED or CBI and has taken care to inform them that he needs a little time, not much, a week or 2 weeks or thereabout, then I think there should be no difficulty in granting this time and giving him one chance. Wait till first week of April, because the offense has not been committed yesterday. The offense has been committed a couple of years ago, or sometime even much more, and therefore an ED or CBI for that matter, these investigating agencies need not sit quiet, or they are not just left workless because Mallya is not available. They have other avenues to explore. They may keep on collecting evidence and their pursuit in the direction of unearthing truth should continue. And of course, Mallya would join.
Sir, I have two short questions for you. You mentioned non-bailable warrant, and there is such a warrant that has been issued against Mr. Mallya. This is in connection with a case relating to bouncing of certain checks.
138 cases.
Yes, sir. So the Hyderabad
court... 138 negotiable instruments.
Yes. So so the Hyderabad court has issued a non-bailable warrant against Mallya for, in the case of the checks which bounced. These were payments that Kingfisher had to make. Now, in that case, since there is a non-bailable warrant issued, is there any need for him to present himself before the Hyderabad court? I'm only talking about that particular case.
No, now let me tell you that as far as 138 cases are concerned, I can point out thousands of cases and thousands of people against whom multiple non-bailable warrants are issued for return of checks, for dishonor of checks. But that is happening in our country. Millions of cases are pending throughout the country. And what happens is that if the offender or the accused turns up and comes to the court and makes an application for cancellation of warrant, even if it is non-bailable warrant, the court does consider if the genuine grounds are shown that why he could not appear before the court. That is for non-appearance in the court that warrants are issued. Now, therefore, that should not be taken as something which has aggravated the case of Mr. Mallya. Hyderabad court has issued 138 warrants. There may have been several other warrants also against him. His counsel can go to the court, ask for some time, present him and get the warrants cancelled and face the trial. That is not the problem at all. The problem is that ED, which is investigating under Prevention of Money Laundering Act, they might arrest him. And once he's arrested, the bail in such cases becomes a very difficult proposition, and he may have to spend some time in custody till he is found fit to be enlarged on bail.
Mr. Memon, I would assume that for what you're saying to happen, like if it was to ever happen, then Vijay Mallya would also have to be in India and not in another country for the ED to arrest him if the situation were to arise. And the other question I wanted to ask you was that we are also talking on a day where the Kingfisher House auction has flopped so miserably, the reserve price being seen too high at 150 crore rupees. You've also had the CBI come out today and say that the scope of the investigation has been officially expanded to 17 banks, that they're studying fund transfers, that 60% of the funds that were given to Vijay Mallya have been remitted overseas. Where do you see this investigation going forward? Is it going to be possible at all for any investigative agency, for any court of law in the country to even order seizure of assets abroad?
Now remember that Vijay Mallya, for that matter, or anybody in his place, he may be out of India today for whatever reasons, personal reasons or fear or whatever you may call it. That is not important. But he is not within the reach of process of law as far as bodily presence is concerned. But since he has taken care to instruct his team of lawyers to respond to any call that comes, either from investigating agency or from the courts, we cannot call him an absconder because he is present before the authorities through his counsel, even if he bodily is not there. Now, number two, I must tell you, he has not been held guilty for anything, even the smallest offense so far. Therefore, presumption of innocence also operates in his favor, just as it would operate in favor of anybody else. But then he has to come to receive justice. And if he fails to appear for receiving justice, then not only non-bailable warrant, but since he is found to be in UK, then international process will begin, and we may have to issue red corner notice, then extradition request, and then following up that and say procuring his presence and then put him for trial, which unfortunately is a very cumbersome, very expensive and very time-consuming process. And I think it is better that we give him some time and let him be made to come back here and then follow the process of law.
Absolutely, sir. Totally take that point. The number of agencies that are involved in this trail now, the CBI, the Economic Offences Wing, the Serious Fraud Investigations Office, the ED, the Debt Recovery Tribunal, and the highest court of the land. We just hope that truth and justice can really come to light. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.